Hey guys, welcome back. It's Nick the Booksmith. Today we're going to do a little project. I promised that I was going to do something pretty quick, so I'm back. So this is something that I've been thinking about for a while. I've been looking for some different props for when I take photographs of books and other things. I needed an extra hand. And so what I did was I ordered just a pair of hands off of Amazon. I'll put the link, I'll put the link down below. And it comes with a right and a left. And they're not huge hands. They're a little smaller than mine, which is perfect for me. I don't want big old huge hands because they make really big ones too, but I didn't want Frankenstein hands, so I ordered these smaller ones. But they come in this raw wood and it's real pale and doesn't really match my aesthetic, right? So I've done one, and this is what it ends up looking like when I am done with it. And I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks antique and aged, and I think it's going to look great in photographs with old books and holding pages open. And it's the Booksmith. It's my extra hands. It's my extra hands. So we're going to age this one to match this one. How's that? Does that sound like fun? So let me put our little old lady hand over here, put her out of the way, and let's get started on this one. They're fully articulated fingers, which I wanted because I wanted to be able to move them all over the place, and even the knuckles move. The thumb doesn't move as much because your thumb moves from this joint down in here, and this one does not have that lower joint, but it's okay. I'm not going for anatomical correctness in joints, so I think it's going to work out just great. On the bottom, it has this little felt velvet kind of sticker. I'm going to take that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some sandpaper, some finer sandpaper, and this is 120 grit, and then some heftier, coarser sandpaper, and this is like 60. But what I do first is I give it a once over just to kind of knock the new smoothness off. And I do that, and just kind of get it around. You don't have to be super like in every nook and cranny or everything, but just try to knock off that new smooth finish that they kind of polish them. So if you knock that off a little bit, the aging that we're going to do to it will sink in a little bit better, a little bit faster. I've gone over that with the sandpaper, and you can take a paper towel and just kind of wipe the dust off. It doesn't really matter that much. It's not like this is a piece of furniture that you're going to be, setting out. You kind of want it to look a little old and dirty, right? And I went ahead and grabbed some of my furniture wax. This is Min Wax. The color is Special Walnut, and I stirred it around a little bit. And let me put my gloves on before because that would be a mess. Wear gloves, people, wear gloves. There's all kinds of ways that you can stain wood, of course. Some people, you can soak steel wool in vinegar for a while, and that will make a type of stain. But I actually just had this sitting around, this Min Wax Special Walnut, and I thought, well, I've already got it, right? No sense in making something when I already have something laying around. So what I'm going to do is drip it all over creation. I'm going to give it a once over, an initial once over. Make sure the stain drips down into all the little knuckle joints. You see how it's got different pieces of wood in there, and there's a screw that holds all that together, but you just want everything kind of coated and saturated, I guess would be a good term for it. And that's why you wear gloves. And down here at the bottom. And this wrist joint, kind of bend it back carefully and make sure you get stain into that wrist joint. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes and let it soak and let it penetrate into the wood fibers. And then we will give it a wipe down and we'll see where we are at that point, okay? So I'm gonna set this little hand aside and we're just gonna let it soak and let it stew for about 5 minutes. All right, it has been about 5 minutes and you can see you're gonna get your gloves caught in all the little knuckle joints too, so just FYI. You can see that the stain doesn't soak in completely. I'm gonna just give it a little bit of a rub down here just to kind of force it into some of the wood fibers, the grain. And every single one of these little hands is probably made out of a different type of wood. I mean, the left hand and the right hand might not be even out of the same kind of, of tree. So your mileage may vary as far as getting them similar in color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe off the excess that has not soaked in. And you don't have to be super precise about this, but just try to wipe down all the wet spots, the pools. Okay. And we're starting to get there, and maybe this is the color you want. Maybe this is all the color you need. I'm going to get it more this color, so I'm going to go on. So what you can do now that you've gotten some of this stain worked into the grain, is I just give it a little bit more of a sanding. This will make it will mar the wood and give it a little bit of look like damage or age where it's been used a lot. And that's what I want personally. So I'm just going to give it some scrapey spots in some areas across the knuckles. And then I'm going to take the finer sandpaper and kind of give it all a once over. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe the dust off. It's kind of sticky dust because the stain was damp, and I'm just going to kind of wipe off the excess here. And then we're going to repeat our stain once more. And of course there's all kinds of beautiful different colors of stain. So, pick your favorites. If you want to match something that you already have, or just go for it. What I liked about these hands is they even have like little fingernail, little indentions. Oh, I thought they looked great. I thought, boy, but you can't see them unless the hand is, you know, aged a little bit. You can't really see the details as well. And for some reason, the fingers don't take the stain as well initially. And that's probably because it's harder to get them sanded, like the rest of the hand is a little easier to sand. So, and again, we're gonna let this sit for another 5-10 minutes and let this soak in, and we'll come back and see what we got. All right, so again, let's rub that into the wood grain. See if we can get it saturated. And take a towel and wipe off all the excess. All right, so we're getting there. We're getting there, we're getting there. So now it's a little darker, but still not as dark as I want. So I'm gonna give it a once over with the sandpaper again. And you don't have to go over every inch or anything, just And at this point, I kind of decided when I was working on that one that I wanted a little bit more red added. So I grabbed one of my ink pads, and this is just a Ranger Cocoa dye ink pad. But I know it's got some red, like a brownish red in it. So I just grabbed the ink pad and ran it over as much of the hand as I could, and then I would stop and kind of rub the ink in. Put some on my glove and rub that in. And it's really hard to get this on the fingers, but I just kind of did what I could and got as many surfaces as I could, and then just kind of worked it in with my gloves. And you could put it on a sponge, but this ink pad is starting to run out of ink, and so that was going to take forever because there's just not much ink left in this ink pad. But if yours is new, if you have a newer ink pad, then probably won't have that problem. I'm just going to hit the joints again where they're kind of pale with this again. And see, it's starting to get nice and dark. That's what we want. Well, that's what I want. I don't know what you want. You can have whatever you want. I'm making a mess. So I'm going to let this sit for another couple minutes. Just let it saturate again, and I'll be back, and I should be pretty close to having the kind of color I want. All right. Take off all the wet parts of the stain. And obviously, I don't want them to be perfectly, you know, coated and evenly stained. I want them to be worn and look like they were, you know, stained, you know, 150 years ago, and half of it's wearing off and half of it's dirt. So, and if there are some places where it's just not accepting the stain as well, you can always give that place an extra bit of sanding, because the more you sand, the more it opens up the grain and the more that the stain will sink in. Of course, you want to be careful because you don't want to mess up the articulated joints on the fingers. So we are getting close. So here is the one I did previously, and then so they're actually pretty close. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and just give it a little bit of a once over. All right, well, I think it's good. I think we're pretty close to where I want it to be. And if you take Q-tips, you can get the little sawdust out of places, or if you have a tack cloth, which I know I do somewhere, just don't have it right here. You can get all this excess dust and whatnot off. But let's grab the other one. And even though they're not exactly exact, I think they're pretty good though, right? Don't you think that they're pretty close to tone and depth? You know, fairly close. So now what you can do is you just leave them. You just, you know, I'm done. Or, let me clear this away a little bit. You can coat them with like a polyurethane if you want to. Not necessary at all. I wouldn't put anything glossy on them. I have some furniture wax that I'm going to buff into mine. So, and just put a little bit on a rag. And you just kind of rub it in, and this will seal it, and it will also smooth it over and kind of give it like a little bit of like a matte velvet kind of a finish. But just know that if you do something like this with the wax, that that's all she wrote, man. Unless you sand it all off, nothing's going to penetrate anymore because you've sealed it with the wax. That's okay. I think these look old and dirty and right where I want them to look. And the wax also will fill in some of the, you know, some of the wood grain, and, you know, to some extent. And once you've coated it with the wax, just let it sit for about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And then you go over it with a clean, dry rag, and you kind of buff it and polish it up. And I say polish in the loosest sense because it's not like you're going to get a shiny polish. And here we are, all finished. And such a big difference from the way they started out, all shiny and bare and light, and now they look positively antique. And I think they're going to look great in photographs. And, you know, and I think they'd even look cool sitting on a stack of books, or, you know, maybe you want to put it on your desk to, you know, hold a pen or your rings or a bracelet or something. You could use it for all kinds of props for, you know, maybe you don't make books, maybe you make jewelry and you want some little hands to hold up your jewelry in your photographs and your product photography. I don't know, I just think they're really cool and they really do look old. So I hope if you like this project that maybe you'll try it out. Like I said, I will leave the link to these ones that I bought on Amazon down below. And yeah, so if you do this, let me know. Tag me on Instagram. Tag me, and I will come back and I'll say, rock on. Okay, that was cheesy. So thank you guys so much for joining me today and checking out this kind of off-the-wall crazy little project, but you know, that's how I roll. You guys know that that's how I am. Unpredictable. So I will see you really soon. I got some more stuff planned and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!